Do you guys hear chickens? All right. All right, guys. This is that series where some of you members have asked us questions in Chalk Your Pro that I asked you to ask. And let me rephrase that. I asked you guys if you had questions that I could answer relating to CrossFit and your health and fitness. And then you guys gave me a variety of different questions, and I'm slowly but surely addressing those questions. This is going to be addressing the purpose behind a movement called a Sumo Deadlift High Pull. So this is a movement that is pretty unique to CrossFit. So why do we do a Sumo Deadlift High Pull? And I don't have this scripted, so I'm just going to go off the top of my head, and maybe I'll throw in some video here and do like a demonstration, a voiceover. But if you think about CrossFit, CrossFit is based on functional movements. If you think about something like a bicep curl, right? A bicep curl is going to be a pretty small load, so it's not a lot of force. It's going to be a pretty small range of motion. You're just going to go from elbow extension to elbow flexion, so not a very large distance. And I mean, speed is a little bit less relevant, but mainly it's the force and the distance. So we wouldn't really say that's necessarily a functional movement. It's not a bad movement, but if you're trying to work pulling muscles like bicep and lats, it's probably better to do a pull-up if you have that capability over a bicep curl if the objective is to train the biceps, because of the amount of force you can move with a pull-up, the distance you're moving is greater, and the amount of musculature involved is greater because it's a multi-joint movement. So we'd say a pull-up is more functional than a curl. Not that a curl is bad, it's just not as functional as a pull if you have that capacity. So along that same line of thinking, most movements in CrossFit are functional movements, and they also move large loads, long distances, and quickly, right? So if you look at a Sumo Deadlift High Pull and you break that down, you're moving that barbell. I mean, for the average person, let's call it 4 to 5 feet if it's going to go from the floor up to your collarbones. So depending on how high you pull the bar and how far the bar's off the ground and then how tall you are, you're moving that load a relatively large distance, right? So you're going to have to use more power and energy to move that load over that distance. You also add the fact that, okay, well, if I want to work on my hamstrings, glutes, quads, lats, traps, biceps, and powerful hip extension, how can I do that in one movement? Well, I mean, a sumo deadlift is going to train glutes, hamstrings, quads, hip extension, lats, core. Granted, a high pull is not going to be as much weight as a conventional deadlift. I understand that. But if you want to get that full body movement at one time, okay, well, you pair a sumo deadlift with an upright row. Well, now you're working essentially your full body with one movement. You can add pretty significant load to that movement once you have the mechanics down. And then it's going to train speed, power, explosive strength, and just about all your muscles in your body at one time. That's one reason that movement would be included in like a CrossFit workout, is because you can move a large load, you move it a long distance, you can do it quickly, right? So it's powerful. You're creating power. Another value to the Sumo Deadlift High Pull. Sumo Deadlift High Pull is it's going to help with the clean, so the hang clean and the clean from the floor. You're going to be training that upright row and that vertical bar path pulling from the ground. And the more it becomes a habit to forcefully extend your hips, shrug, and drive your elbows up with the barbell staying close to your body, the more that becomes habitual and second nature, the more you're going to see that translation from a Sumo Deadlift High Pull into a hang clean or a barbell clean, because you have this subconscious knowledge and movement pattern that when you pull off the ground and extend your hips with force and then shrug and drive your elbows up, that bar is going to stay in a straight line coming up towards your collarbones. Okay, cool. Well, if we take that to a clean, well, that's a very, very similar movement pattern with a different grip and stance and different end position, but that middle where the bar is going from the floor up to your chest is pretty damn similar. So there's going to be carryover from high pulls to hang cleans and regular cleans and snatches, because again, hip extension, high pull. You just change your grip and stance and catch position, and now you're doing a snatch. So it trains that vertical bar path, pulling from the floor, which is also valuable. So you have not only fitness from the force times distance over time, right? The power, the speed, the weight. You have fitness there. You also have technical improvements and mechanics that translate to other movements in CrossFit, like cleans, snatches, etc. So those are a couple of the reasons why you might see a Sumo Deadlift High Pull program in a workout. Usually weights are going to range from 45 to 55 to 75 to 95 pounds. A heavy weight for that movement might be 135, 115 for the average person. But yeah, Stephen, that's why we do those, and I hope that helps. If you have more questions about other movements, please ask. I'm happy to draw parallels as best I can. All right, guys. See you next time.